Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the weekly show with Aditya. A half an hour show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. India's number one podcast with India's number one host, Aditya, in association with Dusra.net, the number one website in sports, education, and entertainment. India began its march towards the 20 over World Cup with a bang, annihilating the two time 20 over champions. The West Indies team looked like a deer caught in the headlights. West Indies, not Windies, looked clueless for a team who relies on the 20 over format mostly and for survival. And with the hysteria and the pressure of the World Cup off the shoulders of the team, Virat Kohli looked like a different captain. He wasn't your usual jumpy self. Probably an introspection over the last 2 weeks did good to the team. They surely had come with a plan. And by the looks of it, these 16 individuals, along with a few more, will form the core of the World Cup team that includes both the 50 over World Cup and the 20 over World Cup. It did become easy because the West Indies team looked absent minded as far as their plans were concerned, and therefore the Indian team won the first two 20 over matches without any fuss. The venue of the matches can make a difference. This is not the first time the matches are being played in Florida, and back to back matches have become a norm because of the tight schedule that we have to live with. If you remember, the team was as I had predicted in my previous episode, except for the inclusion of Shikhar Dhawan, and in these two matches he hasn't contributed at all, be it in the field or with the bat. And while we may debate on Rishabh Pant's shot selection, we have to understand that this is what he is supposed to do. When you are trusting him at number 4, then don't question his shot selection. Let him get out for 0, but at least let's be heartened with the fact that he is trying to be aggressive. The third 20 over match will now become an experiment to give chances to the individuals who haven't got a chance, and I disagree when the term fringe is used, because once upon a time our dearly beloved Kohli was also a fringe player and he had to do a lot of effort to become a permanent member. What can be the changes for the final T20 match which is scheduled for tomorrow? They could rest Bhuvneshwar Kumar and give a chance to Deepak Chahar, rest Jadeja and give a chance to the other Chahar, Rahul Chahar, and drop, not rest, Shikhar Dhawan to give a chance to Shreyas Iyer or Rahul, whoever they seem fit. So potentially the team for the third and the final match should be as follows: Rahul and Rohit opening with Rohit as the captain, Shreyas Iyer at number 3, Pant at 4, Pandey at 5, KP, that is Krunal Pandya, at number 6, Washington Sundar at number 7, Bhuvneshwar Kumar at number 8, Deepak Chahar at number 9, Rahul Chahar at number 10, and one between Navdeep Saini and Khalil Ahmed. One will definitely say that this is a weak batting lineup, but what is the definition of weak? There is no obligation to go for a washout. The target is to look at players who would be the ones taking charge for the next 10 to 12 years. And this would automatically mature the likes of Pant, Pandey and Pandya. A loss or a win would be inconsequential in the larger interests. If the series was 1-all, then we would have understood that they would have not had a change in the team. But now this is a good chance. And remember, the England team we are so in awe of, who recently won the World Cup. How did they come about their aggressive attitude? They started putting performances in these small private bilateral series. They did not win any special tournaments. And despite our attitude towards the opponent, which in this case is West Indies, where we go into this shell and emotion about the past West Indies team, we still have to respect them. But that does not mean not experimenting. If that means having a stoic attitude towards media, so be it. And let's be brave by announcing more than 15 players in a team means if wanted, we can go with 17-18 player squads. And it won't hurt anybody if we do the same. That is why I am still not satisfied with the team selection for this particular tournament. This wall between who is a test player, a T20 player, or the 50 over player needs to be broken down. In fact, there should be no discrimination of any kind. So, whatever be our closed mindset, Kunal Pandya, Washington Sundar should have been part of the test match team as well as the one day team. Even if their first class records are not good enough, this also means having someone like Andre Russell in the test team, irrespective of what they do in their first class format, because such technicalities are now irrational and irrelevant. If that wasn't the case, then a Joss Butler and a Jason Roy wouldn't be part of the England test team, and England, who has been the most conservative of team of dividing this wall, they have finally decided to break it down. There are a few exceptions, but who plays what format is now irrelevant. Australia too broke the ball by having a Nathan Lyon play the World Cup. Nathan Lyon, who is usually comfortable with the test match format, was given a chance in the World Cup, and the rest is history. A few conservative thoughts will always remain, but those are diminishing day by day. So we may see an Adam Zampa play test matches one day in the future. Anyway, domestic records cannot be taken as a benchmark to show whether you are a one day player or a 20 over player. And we know 20 over matches don't prove anything but are there for your fun and entertainment, and the result in such matches don't really add up to anything except for a personal satisfaction. That is the reason we see private 20 over tournaments all around the globe. Why? Because they are for a shorter period and they get you a lot of revenue. Retired players who want to keep their house running, they participate in such tournaments. They are free agents devoid of any rule or a contractual obligation to any organization. And like them, I am too a free agent. No contractual obligation to any organization. In fact, Yuvraj is the only player who is part of such domestic tournament. These 20 over matches can be viewed in two ways. The retired players do not get rusty. They keep playing for different teams. So the idea of attachment to your national team doesn't count. The other aspect is, as always, colonizing the sport in region where this sport is still in its nascent stages. Cricket gets you the sponsors, gets you the players. If this was some other sport like, let's say, football or hockey, the organizers would have struggled to get sponsors as well as venues. One doesn't have to worry about football as this sport has already spread to far corners of the globe. Hockey in countries like Canada is not field hockey but ice hockey. The contours of physical fitness are different. No retired player will ever refuse to play in such leagues as the finances keep flowing and there is a chance of becoming a coach for such 20 over tournaments. Apart from the players, there are also other factors. As we understand, it's a huge source of employment. The production staff, the coaches, the groundkeepers also have something to do. And since it's a private league, one does not need a plethora of permission. In India, it's a different matter. The other cricket boards give NOCs to their players to play in such tournaments when there is not much cricket happening with respect to that country. Yuvraj Singh is only playing because he is retired. If he wasn't retired, it would have been difficult for him to obtain permission from the board. And then the Indian Cricket Board sees such tournaments as a threat to their own T20 tournament. So you will never see an active/rejected player who has not been picked up for the team be given permission to play in such lucrative tournaments. For example, a Kedar Jadhav who is not part of the 20 over team in West Indies, he could have easily gone to Canada to play the tournament, but he would have not been given permission, considering that even one Indian player who is not retired, if they get a chance, then that particular tournament might surpass the Indian T20 tournament. In this case, it is about the survival of the fittest and maintaining a monopoly. In fact, this is a factor in all sports. Now, after such a lengthy and a purposeful discussion, let's get back. As the foremost authority on this particular sport, along with other sports, I have already announced my team for the final match. And whatever be the complication involved with that, there is no better team for that particular match. The only reason there is even a gap between the second and the third match is because the teams are shifting bases. Otherwise, we would have seen 3 in 3 days. Not a novel concept in hockey, but certainly a novel concept in this particular sport. Talking about hockey, the team is headed to Japan to play a pre-Olympic tournament. This is what they call an Olympic test event. Manpreet Singh and a few seniors have been rested, so it means the entire onus is on Harmanpreet Singh as the captain. Starting from 17th August, we have an unusual schedule. 2 matches in a single day and starting as early as 8 am Indian Standard Time. These tournaments are very important for the team to know what is their best lineup, and in the absence of a few senior players, the younger one will take up the responsibility to make Tokyo 2020 a memorable tournament irrespective of the results. As passive and active stakeholders, we cannot make the results in the Olympics an important factor. Going with the mind of just assembling medals and awards for oneself might backfire in the longer run. In fact, the objective of such tournament should be to go and prove yourself, give your best, even if the position attained is third and all you get is a bronze medal. Just because a gold medal is associated with the first prize, that cannot be the objective. That objective is myopic. And we should refrain from judging performances based on the number of medals won. In fact, it should be on how that particular athlete or the team performed on that particular day. And if mistakes, whatever be the definition of mistake for that particular sport or the particular athletes were made, the more mature reaction would be not to comment on the mistakes made and not to go into this rhetoric that just because the airfare and lodging for the athletes comes from the taxpayers' money, we cannot put pressure on them to win medals all the time. Winning medals has to be a secondary goal, and this infantile nature of comparing the number of gold or silver medal won by the other countries and how they achieve it because their sporting structure is far superior. We need to end this comparison right now. We have to maintain a balance between the athletes performing their best and the result being a gold or a silver medal. We cannot be overawed by the fact that the tournament's name is Olympic or the Commonwealth Games or the Asian Games or that particular sports world championship. Let's go into one final discussion before we end this brilliant podcast. The Ashes test has turned around 360 degrees for Australia. What we saw in this match is a deja vu of what happens in every match. We can add adjectives such as brilliant, perfect, what a performance, but this is an adjective which is used every time such a thing happens. Now, those who are wondering what has exactly happened, I will go into the details. Australia did not score much in the first innings. They scored 284, though in the hindsight, 284 now looks like a competitive score. Apart from Steve Smith, there was not much contribution in the Australian innings. England batted in their first innings, tried to take a lead, but they could not take a lead of more than 90 runs. And Australia managed well with their 4 bowlers. It all seems great right now, but one day this particular strategy will backfire. Steve Smith, redemption and all, he shut his critics who were wondering whether this individual would get back into the sport after a year of being banned. Whatever the doubts in his mind, and the individual who doubted whether he would be able to do something special, well, he did something special. I never doubted him in this particular context, considering how the idea of bans have changed. Australia's idea to go with 4 fast bowlers and 7 batsmen that included 2 wicket keepers worked for now. As Matthew Wade, who once upon a time was also in the discarded section, got a chance again and he did not disappoint with his performances. While Steve Smith hit his second century of the match and his 25th overall, Matthew Wade also got some redemption by hitting his third century. And now England have a target of 400 runs which they have to score in 90 overs, and that has never happened before. It will be interesting to see how a Jason Roy reacts to this situation. He was selected for his aggressive mindset, but in the 2 matches I have seen him, he looks a little cowered down. Perhaps he should take a leaf out of Virender Sehwag's notebook. For those who remember, for Sehwag, test matches, one-day matches were irrelevant. All he saw was see the ball, hit the ball, and that worked perfectly for that player. So what should a Jason Roy do? He should do what he has been doing for a long time. He should come and straight away attack the bowlers. Maybe go for the record of chasing 400 runs. England can shuffle the batting order, send someone like Johnny Bedstow, Ben Stokes and Josh Butler before Joe Root, and let's see if they can emulate what they have done in the 50-over matches. And if they do it, the conservative mindset in the English cricket scenario will diminish forever. But hold your horses, it won't be easy. Australia have a very good bowling attack. Despite missing 2 of their best bowlers in Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazlewood, they still have a James Pattinson, a Patrick Cummins and a Peter Siddle, along with their best spinner, a spinner who is even greater than Shane Warne. And those who are shocked by this, I will not relent when I say that a Nathan Lyon is a greater spinner than Shane Warne, irrespective of the fact that one is a leg spinner and one is an off spinner. But these are just semantic and too technical. Whatever has to happen in this match will eventually happen. In fact, one can say that all 3 results are possible. An England win, an Australian win, a draw and even a tie. So we can speculate as much as we want. It is the players who will decide what they want to do. Rain can also play an important factor. England might be saved by the rain and plan ahead and scrutinize what went wrong in this particular match. In terms of fast bowling, we can swoon over a Thompson and a Lilly, but remember, these two individuals played in an era without rules, where the rules were anyways not enforced, and they were lucky to get away with bad umpiring decisions because the batsmen had no technology in their favor, and the batsmen were also able to get away because the bowlers did not have any kind of technology in their favor. Even a McGraw or a Brett Lee had their moments under the sun, but these individuals are no match in comparison to a Patrick Cummins, a Josh Hazelwood, a Nathan Lyon, or a Mitchell Stark. One can even include a James Pattinson. A Nathan Lyon at number 11 is a more accomplished batter than a Glenn McGraw, and that's the deal breaker. Thank you for listening to this episode as we move towards a milestone moment. For more such discussion, stay tuned to this network and to the world's #1 podcast. So if you want to be a part of my show, please send your valuable suggestions and send your recordings on topics ranging from sports, education and entertainment on the email ID Aditya the writer at gmail.com. That is Aditya the writer at gmail.com. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please like and subscribe to my Facebook page and YouTube channel and stay tuned for the next episode.